it's time for another edition of Fade or Follow.
Will you fade or will you follow?
Whose car are we going to take?
On BetMGM tonight.
All right, let's start looking ahead to college football in week number 4 and some of the matchups on the board. Let's start with under the Friday night lights and a Big Ten battle. We're finally getting into conference battles, although there were a couple of games still out of league action. This one not included. Iowa laying 2.5 on the road against Rutgers at a -110. Numbers Nerd says this. The Football Power Index at ESPN as he seems ultra tight. Iowa number 40, Rutgers at number 44. According to Pro Football Focus, Iowa number 31 in the country in offense efficiency. Believe it or not, Rutgers numero uno in offensive efficiency through 3 weeks. The defense efficiency right now, you look at Iowa, they're at number 15. Rutgers at number 109. Yikes. A tale of 2 categories there for the Scarlet Knights. So with all that being digested by Ryan Horvat, fade or follow Iowa -2.5 in Piscataway against the Scarlet Knights at a -110 juice.
When we did our Big Ten preview, I said I like this Rutgers team, man, and I think they're going to be pretty solid on the offensive side of the ball. I like Kalakamanis enough as a college quarterback. The run game has been solid, even though they lost their lead back in Monungai, but they also haven't played anybody. They scored 34 against Ohio. They win that game only by a field goal. They scored 45 against Miami, Ohio, who I did bet this weekend, but they haven't won a game yet this season. And then they scored 60 on Norfolk State. Now, granted, this game is at home. Huge step up in class against Iowa's defense. Iowa, not that they've played, like the toughest schedule in the world, but they did already play the Cyhawk game, and they should have won that game, damn it, but they lose outright to Iowa State. I like Iowa in this spot. And they opened as 1.5-point favorites. Now it's at 2.5. It's most likely closes probably 3. I think they'll get a lot of the looks here. I do like Iowa anything under 3. Now, I don't want to go over 3, right? Because there's a good chance this game ends 10-7. I do think that they're going to be able to slow down Rutgers on the offensive side of the ball, but give me the Hawkeyes. I think that they win this game by at least a field goal. By a field goal, exactly.
Speaking of field goals, Chase McLaughlin, where did he go to school? The ILL! But I'm not going to give him an I because he just hit the right upright. Boink.
No.
A little doink. Still 14-10. Tampa, 101 remaining right now in the third quarter. Houston still has life. Plenty of it. And get the ball back. All right, let's move on. Utah against Texas Tech and a pair of ranked teams. Utah, the Utes laying 3.5 against the Red Raiders at a -110 juice. Football Power Index on this one. Utah number 18 in the country. Texas Tech at number 26. The offensive efficiency ranks of Pro Football Focus. The Utes at number 34. Tech at number 7. Defensive efficiency. You look at Utah at number 30 nationally, and this is shocking to me. The Red Raiders at numero uno. So outstanding efficiency, really both ends of the spectrum for Texas Tech, but they're catching points. Again, Utah -3.5 against the Red Raiders. Is it guns up time? Horvat, fade or follow?
Yeah, this is the game of the week for me, man. These are the 2 teams that I like most in the Big 12. Unfortunately, I also like Kansas State coming into the year, but I always like Utah. Last year, Utah only won 5 games, and they still had a top 25 defense. The issue was they were all in on it being Cam Rising's last year, and come week 3, there's no Cam Rising for the 7th consecutive season. Now they've moved on from him, and I love Davin Dampier, their quarterback, man. I took a stab on him to win the Heisman. 7 touchdown passes, no interceptions. He has 628 passing yards already in 3 games. He's also their leading rusher with 198 yards on the ground and a rushing touchdown. They have a really good defense. Now, Texas Tech's awesome as well. Morton, 11 touchdown passes, only 1 pick. They've been a covering machine. They're scoring over 40 in the first half of all these games. But now this is a huge step up in class. If this game is at Tech in their new stadium that they spent all that money on, I'm betting Texas Tech. But because the game's at Rice-Eccles, one of the toughest places to play, give me Utah with that defense, with Dampier and that offense. And I think they have the better coaching staff. I love Whittingham. Give me my Utes this weekend. I'm going to bet this right now, actually.
Oh, stiff arming Captain Hook as a possibility here and laying the 3.5 for the Utah Utes. All right, let's move on. Arkansas -6.5 on the road against the Memphis Tigers at a -110 juice. Numbers there, a little bit of background here. Football Power Index has the Razorbacks at number 24, Memphis at number 36. Nationally, the offensive efficiency rankings, Arkansas at number 17 according to PFF, Memphis at number 46. Defense efficiency, very close. Arkansas at number 48, Memphis at number 50. Again, with those numerics bouncing around in your dome. Woo Pig Soo-wee laying 6.5 on the road against the fighting Penny Hardaways at a -110. Fade or follow?
You know, I like Memphis, man. I would want 7.5, but if I had to bet the game at 6.5 right now, I would actually take the points with the dog. I think Arkansas wins this game, but I don't trust them to get consistent stops on the defensive side of the ball. Everybody loved them to cover, and I saw a lot of people picking them to beat Ole Miss outright. Ole Miss was on their backup quarterback, and Ole Miss won that game and covered. I like this Memphis team. Now, they lost a lot. They lost Seth Hennigan, who was their starting quarterback the last couple of years, but Brendan Lewis has played pretty well. So far, he's completing 73% of his passes, 608 yards, only 2 touchdowns, and he's been sacked 4 times. But I was impressed with what they did to Troy. They beat and covered against Troy last week. That's the same Troy team that had a double-digit lead on Clemson in the first half 2 weeks ago. Give me Memphis to keep this game close. I think they're live in this game, maybe even.
All right, going to fade the Razorbacks, laying the 6.5 there on the road. 1st and 10, by the way, for the Houston Texans, and they just got another first down. Dalton Schultz showing some shiftiness there in the open field. That is the last play of the third quarter. Again, 14-10. Tampa with Houston now marching down the field. All right, let's get another game in here. Lots of abbreviations in the battle here of the Lone Star State, and right there in a similar locale in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. TCU laying 7 against SMU at a -110 juice. A football power index at ESPN from the numbers nerd. TCU at number 25. SMU at number 35. Offensive efficiency rating for the Great Horny Toads at number 9. SMU at number 56. Defensive efficiency rating. TCU at number 41. SMU at number 29. Your thoughts? TCU -7 against SMU. Fade or follow?
I'm going to actually follow TCU as 7-point favorites. I feel like this is going to be the game where everybody's going to be like, how the hell is SMU, who made the playoff last year, catching 6.5, catching a full touchdown? It's because TCU is good. Sonny Dykes could coach. As we saw a couple years ago when he took a team to the national title game. I really like TCU starting quarterback Josh Hoover. So far this season, 6 touchdown passes, completing 76% of his passes. I like Barnes, the running back. Jordan Dwyer is a really solid receiver, 14 grabs already for 225 yards. I just don't trust SMU on the defensive side of the ball. We saw that a couple weeks ago when they lost outright to Baylor as favorites. They gave up 48 points in that game. I think they do the same this weekend, and I don't trust them to get stops. TCU wins and covers.